What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my updated transfer plan for the upcoming Game Week 8. So if you guys have enjoyed your international break, or at least the first week of it, I've mainly been working, but I guess that can be fun sometimes. But pretty keen to get back to the YouTube videos, as well as the actual FPL content. So I'm going to jump straight back into the Game Week 8 planning with my updated transfer plan, a kind of revision of the video I released about a week ago. Now we still have some international football coming up today, tomorrow and on Wednesday, but I'll update you guys with that information and the team selection coming up later in the week. In this video I'll take a quick review of how Game Week 7 went, as well as was the wildcard a success, before jumping into the injury updates we've had currently, as well as my transfer plan for the upcoming game week. So that's what you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a quick review of how Game Week 7 went, and as you guys know, I activated the wildcard chip and changed my team almost completely, and we managed to score 52 points. Now that was enough to get a green arrow, even though it wasn't the biggest, it was a pretty decent one, but I'll be showing my rank come Game Week 10, as the ranks are quite volatile at the moment. So with the wildcard active, I'll actually show you guys my previous team and how many points it scored, just so that we can see if it actually outperformed it. So let's see what those points came from in the actual team if you guys haven't seen it yet. Starting off on the bench, Van de Ven the only point scorer. So that Spurs defense doesn't look the best at the moment. I'm regretting this pick slightly, as there were better kind of attacking options. But let's see what Van de Ven and Spurs can do with those good upcoming fixtures. Now with Greaves, he's kind of a sensible option at the cheaper price tag, but unfortunately Ipswich conceded quite a few goals, so that's why it's reflective of 0 points. Chiwomi ended on 0 because he didn't play, as well as Fabianski, but there's no real 4.5 that plays at the moment. So with Chiwomi on the bench, you guys can kind of see I went for a 3-5-2 formation instead of my old 3-4-3, so let's see if the extra midfielder comes in clutch. Now selected goalkeeper was going to be Flecken. This is a pick that I'm not super hot on, as that Brentford defense seems to be conceding quite a few goals at the moment. So I know the big chances went down from Game Week 7 compared to Game Week 6, but I still think they conceded 3 goals in their fixture. So that's something that you never love to see, is your goalkeeper conceding 3 goals. Let's see if they can improve defensively, and hopefully the points will start flowing then. Now in terms of our back 3, we've got Gabriel, Guardiola, as well as Rico Lewis. We got a start out of all of them. So I wasn't too concerned about Gabriel, but actually was quite surprised that he lost the clean sheet. Probably a dub, as most people own the double up in the Arsenal defense. So it's going to be quite a strange game week if Man City and Arsenal both lose the clean sheet, and both games in my opinion could have been actually defensively good. Arsenal definitely put on a better performance than Man City did. They actually were outperformed in terms of XG to Fulham in this fixture. It was actually thanks to Adama Traore having very bad finishing that this ended as a dub for Man City. Fulham were all over them. Now Rico Lewis did manage to get 1 assist, whereas Guardiola got nothing, therefore he blanked on 1 point. Not the best start to our Man City double up. Now to make matters worse in terms of the wildcard, the only kind of defender that actually scored points was probably Trent Alexander-Arnold, a player I sold on my wildcard, but the Crystal Palace game I just had to survive. I'm worried though with these upcoming fixtures, even though they are quite tough. Trent is just so good, but I had to go against him as I needed the funds to upgrade my midfield and forward department. So it wasn't the best start for this back 3 trio. Let's see if maybe Game Week 8 is going to be better. Fingers crossed. Now midfield department was pretty stacked, starting off with Saka, a player that I brought on the wildcard. I considered him an almost essential, and he repaid the faith with a massive 16-pointer. Outperformed Salah by quite a far margin as well, and therefore I was happy to go for him. It was a pretty game for Arsenal at the end of the day. Only regret there is not captaining him. Was slightly tempted, I won't lie, in the deadline stream, but I went for boring Erling Haaland, who ended up blanking, spoiler alert. Then Cole Palmer also pretty expensive, probably would have hoped for more points, especially after facing 10 men that have a few chances late in the fixture. But we will take those 6 points to the bank. Let's see if we can do it against the tougher teams. Up next, Liverpool. Mbeumo, one of the more essential players I would go for, a complete talisman almost. Was slightly shocked at his points though, as Brentford scored so many goals. So if he was a true talisman, probably would have scored more points, but 8 is also going to be pretty good, because he comes in around the mid-price point. Rodgers at his cheaper price point, not necessarily kind of expecting the world. That game ended 0-0 against United. The one player though I was pretty disappointed is going to be Kulusevski. You guys might be wondering why he's in my team, but I couldn't afford Johnson. That Dom Slunke price rise meant that I could only go for a 4.3 defender. With Mikalenko's injury, I couldn't afford Ben Johnson and the 4.3 defender. Wasn't too keen on going for kind of a 4.0 with that Man City rotation, so unfortunately I had to go for a 4.5 in Kulusevski. Now overall, had a pretty good game this international break with Sweden. Let's just hope that he can do it with the Spurs side, but probably the biggest regret on my wildcard at the moment. I will keep the faith though. I backed the Spurs attack with the good XG numbers. Just don't think Kulusevski is the best FPL asset. Now at the moment, Erling Haaland doesn't seem like the best FPL asset as well, super expensive and is kind of blanked back to back. Let's see what he can do with these upcoming Sea of Green fixtures. He has been scoring this season pretty consistently. Don't really think he's going to make it a hattie of blanks, but we could be wrong. At least Dom Solanke got 1 assist. In terms of other forwards, wasn't the best week for other forwards as well. Potentially was going to go for Calvert-Lewin, but he also blanked. But I might be choosing him now with those good Everton fixtures. But Dom Solanke wraps up our new kind of wildcard team, the team we're going to have for the next few game weeks. What do you guys like and not like about it? As mentioned, enough for a green arrow, 52 points. Let me know how your game week went. Was it a good, bad, or great week? I've seen all kind of scores over on FPL Twitter. Hope this international break has kind of reset your mindset heading into the upcoming game weeks, but the next one does come in about a month's time. Now I mentioned this, but let's go over my old team and how many points it actually scored. Just going to do this as a kind of fun exercise to see if the wildcard was actually worth it. So let's bring up my old 3-4-3. As you guys can see, it would score a massive 37 points, but I did have 1 free transfer and 0.4 in the bank. Now the move I probably would have made is Eze out for either an Arsenal midfielder or Johnson, but Martinelli scored 6 points and Johnson scored 7. So even if I did do the Eze to Johnson move, that would have gained me an extra 5 points, taking me to 42, 10 less than 52. So 10 points might not be the kind of best metric to measure a wildcard on. Probably would have said 15 plus points would immediately be a dub, but I'm still pretty happy with that. Now as always, a wildcard should be reviewed over the upcoming weeks. I'm pretty confident my new team will outperform my old team by quite a far margin. If you guys used the wildcard this week, how did it go? Was it a good week, a bad week? Do you regret using it? At least I used it in game week 7 versus game week 6, as then I would have been at a points negative. I think the bad performance was probably down to that Aston Villa vs United game. I was expecting Villa to absolutely dominate United, but that game ended 0-0. This team was saved though by the fact that I had Trent Alexander-Arnold, but no Saka was a big miss in game week 7. So was the wildcard a dub or not? You guys can probably let me know in the comments down below. Currently about 10 points gained, and hopefully that grows over the upcoming game weeks. Now the next talking point to go over is going to be our game week 8 team. I'll talk about my transfer plan after I go over the team selection, just to show you guys what I'm currently dealing with. Now don't worry, I won't be going over these kind of player by player. I'll be doing the positional reviews, and then in the team selection after all the international break games, I can finalize my team selection. So our bench this week does offer some coverage. If you guys saw my previous team, Winks didn't even feature for Leicester in game week 7, but I guess Chiwomi won't as well for Wolves. Now we do have some defensive coverage. We got Van der Ven against West Ham at home, not the best game with West Ham's attacking form, but Greaves could keep a clean sheet against Everton. Hopefully at least he does, as I don't own Calvert-Lewin, but not super confident in that Ipswich defense. Then between the sticks, obviously Fabianski won't play, and therefore Flecken has United away, a team that's not in great form at the moment. So let's just see if Brentford can maybe keep a clean sheet, but I doubt it, as they're not the best defense, so hopefully a few save points here and there. Then our back 3, not super confident on starts from all these players, except for maybe Gabriel. So Arsenal against Bournemouth, I mean if they can't keep a clean sheet against Leicester or Southampton, we might have some concerns, as the Bournemouth attack has actually been pretty good this season. Let's see what happens though, maybe after international break, Arteta has them better defensively, and then with Guardiola and Lewis, both might not even play. So Guardiola does have a game for Croatia coming up against Poland on Wednesday, so all eyes are going to be there. And then Rico Lewis played about 10 or 5 minutes yesterday in the England game. One thing to note is the Champions League game for City after game week 8 is pretty easy, so not too much concern about kind of resting for that one. Now obviously I do hope that both these two players start, as the clean sheet is the highest kind of odds, but Wolves have also been pretty good going forward. The number for department, no complaints here, pretty good games. Saka against Bournemouth should hopefully do well, but he does have that knock he carried from the England game. Now the big news came actually from the England manager. He said that Saka was pretty close for the Finland game, and that's probably the last news we'll be getting as Arteta plays his mind games. I swear even if maybe Arsenal playing the under-12s, Arteta would come out and hide the team news. But because the England manager gave us that insight, I'm just going to keep Saka for now. If he was out, I would have actually been in a pretty bad predicament, and I'll explain that later on. Cole Palmer against Liverpool. As a Liverpool fan, hopefully he doesn't do too much, but I'm hoping for some points. He is in pretty good form at the moment. Then Mbeumo against United, if kind of Ollie Watkins and Rodgers can't score, hopefully Mbeumo does. And then Rodgers has Fulham away. Now that Fulham team does have pretty good kind of defensive numbers at the moment, but I do rate that Aston Villa attack quite highly. Then the final player, Kulusevski, hopefully repays us for the faith over at Johnson. I know I couldn't even afford Johnson, and I would have gone for him if I could, but Kulusevski doesn't have to know that. As mentioned, pretty good game for Sweden over the international break. Let's see if we can turn that into FPL points though. Up front, captain Erling Haaland. Let's see after the blank. Norway vs Austria wasn't the best game for him, but that Wolves team have been shipping a few goals. So no real complaints here. As mentioned, that Champions League game after Game Week 8 is pretty easy, so can't see too much rest for Erling Haaland. Then the final player, Dom Solanke, West Ham at home, pretty good game even though they're on good form. Nothing like a London v London clash. I am pretty happy though with the team at the moment. I think a big one is probably going to be Cole Palmer, is slightly a differential to other elite managers. And Kulusevski, if Johnson's out injured, he could turn out to be a great pick. Let's see if our defenders do start, otherwise I do have some coverage. But let's talk about some potential transfers. So as you guys can see on the right hand side, 1 free transfer and 0.0 in the bank. So if we do choose to use it, I can only go for a like-for-like switch or a downgrade. Now the kind of big concerns this week were around Saka at the moment with that major knock, but as mentioned, the England manager did say he was close for the Sunday fixture. My logic kind of tells me if he was close for Sunday, he should be fine for a week's time, but doubt we get anything from Arteta in the press conferences. Now the reason I said kind of if Saka was out, I'd be in a pretty bad place, is the 2 replacements I'd want would be either Son or Foden. Now as you guys can see, I've already got a triple up in Man City and Spurs, so the player I'd probably have to go for is going to be a Bruno Fernandes. Don't have the money for Salah, so the United midfielder might be the one I would go for. Now you guys can understand why I said I would be in a bad place. But let's just hope Saka is okay, some good fixtures coming up, but they do turn in Game Week 9. Other transfers to make, don't really think I'd make a transfer in other areas unless we do get some injury news. We do have some internationals coming up throughout the midweek. We'll update you guys though in the team selection if any news does come about. Otherwise, stay tuned for major videos coming up tomorrow as well as Wednesday. Follow me on Twitter as well as join the Discord server, both links in the description. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the international break. But this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. See you guys for future content, so make sure those notifications are turned on. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.